Jeff asked, do you think Nick Saban will hang it up if he wins the national championship? No, I don't. I have no guided information on that, Jeff. I have no guided knowledge. But there was a follow-up question that was actually the one I wanted to get to. So to address the Saban stuff, I think that the guy's got 10 more years worth of gas in the tank if he wants to. I'm around them fairly consistently. I'm around him fairly consistently. Let me just put it this way. If he were to win and walk off into the sunset, he would walk right into what his next venture is. Because if you think that he is contemplating retirement because he's just tired, that is not Nick Saban. You need to be around that guy a little bit to understand that guy's motor runs just as much as it did 10, 20, 30 years ago. But the follow-up that Jeff asked was, do you think Bama really deserves to be in this game? Well, Jeff, how do we define deserved? I mean, this is a beautiful setting here, but it would be just as beautiful with Florida State, and I know a lot of people think Florida State should have been here. I'm not going to do the whole should Florida State have been here thing anymore. You know my thoughts on that, and I'm not making any more friends, and I'm not interested in making any more enemies talking about that. But here's, I think, the great fallacy that is going to exist. Okay, if we're here Monday night and Alabama beats Michigan by 20, a lot of people will say, see, that's evidence the committee got it right. And then conversely, if Florida State were to get beat by 30 by Georgia, it's, oh, see, the committee was right to leave them out. Or imagine if Florida State beat Georgia and Alabama lost. Oh, the committee was wrong to leave Florida State out. Hey, the committee's decision is right or wrong right now. It doesn't matter what happens in games in the future. If your body of work is your resume, if your regular season body of work is the resume, that's it. Like, there's an edge of a cliff after that. Doesn't matter if you win or lose by 100 in the playoffs. Your validity as being included or not being included is already determined. So I don't want to hear anything about that. But here's what I will say about Alabama. You can make any argument you want to. The fact is they're in it. And any tournament, like any playoff Alabama's in, to me, until you see otherwise, they're favored to win. I know they're not a point spread favorite against Michigan, which surprises me, and I've jumped on, candidly, I've jumped on that on the betting market. I know they're not favored in the odds-making community. They're the favorite to win this national championship. Alabama's the favorite, unless otherwise stated, in any postseason college football tournament they're in. So what I always think about is not the titles Nick Saban's won. I don't think about all the playoff trips they've made. I think about the ones they weren't included in and what they would have done if they got in those. Because it's taken a Herculean effort to keep them out of the playoffs that they've missed. Think about the kick six. Think about the kinds of things that had to happen for them not to make playoffs. But the thing about it is, had they been in those years, they may very well have won. The point is, Bama, or Georgia for that matter, they can win any of these things they get in. The question is not, oh, if they win once they're in, does that prove they deserve to be in? No, it doesn't prove anything about that. It proves they're a really good team with some of the best players in the country, led by the best head coach and staff in the country. That's all that proves. But Alabama, like is currently constructed, is in such a unique position because they're never in a situation in these postseason games where the pressure's not on them. And yet I've spent time around Michigan and Alabama since I've been out here. I've seen probably 5 or 6 of their games in person combined this year. So we've been around those two programs about as much as any programs this year. And now we're around them at the same time. And I you know what? I would dare to say that there is an immense amount of pressure, more pressure on Michigan than there is on Alabama. Bama views themselves as, we're going to be in this thing every year. And with good reason. They usually are in this thing. Michigan's been here as of late. But the vibe that you get around the program is such that 2024 doesn't even exist. Like 2024, yeah, it'll come when it comes. We're not worried about that, though. And this is the way Michigan fans feel. You know you've got a golden opportunity in the here and now. And all the investigative talk and all the NCAA this and all the Big Ten that, it's just like it's white noise in the background. And there's like an edge of a cliff, and we'll deal with whatever's over that cliff when we get there. Alabama, though, like they look at this and they say, all right, this is 2023, and we're in the playoff. We won the SEC in 2023. Milroe's probably back in 2024. Got another number 1 recruiting class, almost the highest rated of all time a cycle ago, that is now going to jump into its sophomore season, the Keon Keeleys, the Caden Proctors of the world. And then they'll bake another top 5 class in, and they'll cherry pick basically whoever they want out of the portal, and it'll be rinse, repeat. That's the way it always feels around this program. The difference is, in this particular setting, they come in as a point spread underdog. And they also come in knowing in week 3, everyone left them in the ditch. Everyone left them for dead. Had I not picked them to win the national championship, I may have done the same. But I was chained to Alabama, and it ended up paying off. As you can see, like, here we are. But that's about the loosest group that I've felt around Alabama football in a long time. I think they know it. Like, I think they know, had you just promised us we're going to be in the playoff in week 3, we would have said, wow, some things are certainly about to change down the stretch for us, aren't they? Well, they did. Of course, now that you're here, just making it is not good enough. But, you know, you got these different years under Nick Saban, and was this his best coaching job? Was that his best coaching job? Dude, if they win this national championship, the way they'll talk about this team down the road, how crazy it'll look juxtaposing people's tweets about them from week 3 to the night they win the national championship. It's like oil and water, and that includes me. I thought the week 3 win against South Florida that they had was the worst they've looked under Saban since 2007. Like, unimaginable ineptitude offensively, and that was when Milroe didn't start that game. If that team comes back and wins a national championship in a year that we wouldn't exactly consider a down year for college football, that'd be impressive. That'd be incredible. So there's a lot of talk about what's the future for Nick Saban, a lot of talk about what's the future for Jim Harbaugh. Will both coaches be back next year? Will neither coach be back next year? How about this? My suggestion, humbly, live in the moment and appreciate the fact that you got 2 legendary, iconic brands. This game would have been big in 2023, but it would have been big in 1923. I mean, the Rose Bowl is an Alabama's fight song, by the way, because of what they did in the 20s. So just enjoy that and the here and now, and then we'll deal with tomorrow when it comes.